People's National Movement and Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, my parliamentary and cabinet colleague, the Honorable Dr. Nyan Gatsby-Dolly, Deputy Political Leader of the PNM, Joan Yule Williams, First Citizen of the Digger Martin Regional Corporation, Sigla Jack, officers of this great movement, members of Parliament, members of the Cabinet, party faithful, our friends and supporters listening to us and viewing us on the World Wide Web and on the various multimedia platforms and on television, our political detractors, because we know they are listening and looking at us because they have to learn how to operate a real political party. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to this PNM meeting. Tonight, the PNM, your party, keeps faith with you as we report to you and the national community on the progress we continue to make as we navigate the rough seas of this corona pandemic, but as we navigate our governance of this beautiful Twin Island Republic. Tonight, our speakers are none other than the Honorable Minister of Education, my sister and cabinet colleague, the Member of Parliament for St. Anne's East, Honorable Nyan Gatsby-Dolly, and our leader, phenomenal, our political leader and Prime Minister, the Honorable Keith Rowley, a man whom we are all proud, of whom we are all proud, a man whom we call our leader phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, I am certain that like me and like all other civic-minded, patriotic citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, we would have shared in the pain that has been felt by those who have lost their loved ones as a result of this coronavirus. This government has done everything in its power to ensure that we maintain lives and livelihoods. Many private citizens and businesses have also ensured that they have made sure that their employees were never terminated, notwithstanding the necessary closure of their businesses. Mindful of our responsibilities, the PNM government went to the Parliament and received permission on more than 2 occasions to dip into our rainy day fund, our Heritage and Stabilization Fund, so that we could maintain lives and livelihoods. These funds were distributed throughout the governance of Trinidad and Tobago, but in particular to the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. Ladies and gentlemen, our objective was to ensure that the social safety net remained intact, that public servants were paid, that vaccines were procured. And ladies and gentlemen, not once during this pandemic did pensioners receive their pensions late. Not once during this pandemic did persons receive their disability grants late. Not once during this pandemic has a public servant been paid late. Not once during this pandemic has a teacher not received his or her salary. Not once during this pandemic did a nurse, a doctor, an orderly, a police officer, a prison officer, any member of the governmental services not receive their salary on time. And ladies and gentlemen, when they were saying the vaccine, the vaccine, the vaccine, now they have every single vaccine that they could want. And yet, they still try to vilify the PNM. But we will not be daunted. Your government, your PNM government, has withstood the slings and arrows of our detractors. And today, we can say without fear of contradiction that this government is much better off because of strong leadership, because of our leader, phenomenal, the Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. You know, ladies and gentlemen, that we have always said that the alternative to the PNM is chaos and confusion. And whilst we may have said it to you and amongst ourselves, I really never thought we would have received so resounding an endorsement from no less than the current PRO of the UNC. You all know him, Kirk Megu. He once had a political party called the DNA. But you and I well know that his only DNA lies embedded with Kamla and the UNC. And let me tell you all what he said about the UNC in a previous incarnation, and I quote, "The UNC represents everything wrong with our country. Insularity, lack of vision, parochialism, ethnocentrism, Vicky-Vi mode of operating, selective enforcement of rules, deception, dishonesty, corruption, no thought about wider responsibilities, and no national feeling. The PNM, however, realizes our value more than the UNC. And he didn't end there. He went on. The UNC are uncultured barbarians. End of quote. I didn't say it, you know. Dr. Rowley didn't say it. Nian didn't say it. Kirk Megu, who now is the paid lackey of Kamla, but we all know he was speaking the truth. Truth is something, ladies and gentlemen, that those who are opposed to us know nothing about. What is the truth in these unprecedented times? The truth is that by the end of August 2021, your PNM government delivered food packages to over 107,000 families via all 41 MPs and 39,000 food boxes via all local government councillors and all assemblymen of the THA. And when I say all, I mean all. That means UNC and PNM. That means that 146,000 families were taken care of over the last 4 months. Our target was 125,000, and we were able to meet 146,000 families. We also bought 1 million pounds of local chickens, and we paid $30 million to over 300 farmers from across the country for 5 million pounds of produce. Apart from the councillors, the MPs, and the assemblymen, we also used NGOs including Pan Trinbago, the National Carnival Bands Association, the Coterie of Social Workers, the Blind Welfare Association, the Trinidad and Tobago Yacht Club, police youth clubs, faith-based organizations, and many individuals who reached out for help. Through the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, the government has spent over $300 million on food cards, income support, rental assistance, senior citizens pensions, disability grants, and hampers. There have been over 400,000 beneficiaries. But we did not stop there. In addition to that, enhanced support was provided to the private sector by this government via financial assistance for companies and individuals aimed at maintaining jobs through tax refunds, accelerated VAT refunds, zero-interest government-guaranteed loans, grants for micro-enterprises, and more. Over 30,000 individuals and companies have benefited. But ladies and gentlemen, you might ask the question, what next? As you well know, we have a team that was put together under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister that dealt with developing what we called a roadmap to recovery. And this plan outlines the critical steps that the government will take to restore economic activity utilizing a three-pronged approach. And these are to address and mitigate hardship inflicted by COVID-19, to restart the economy, and to lay the foundation for sustained economic recovery. So whilst the UNC and their nonsensical drama remains ongoing, we on this side have actual work to do for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Our objective, therefore, under the leadership of Keith Rowley, is to protect the vulnerable, ensure food safety and security, and to this end, we have already begun the investment of over $500 million in agriculture. Our objective, therefore, is improving public health as we continue to invest in hospitals, the Arima General Hospital, the construction of the Sangre Grande Hospital, the operationalization of the Point Fortin Hospital, the operationalization of the Roxborough Hospital, and the construction of the Port of Spain General Block C. Our objective throughout all of this is to ensure that we invest in strategic sectors to create growth, to create jobs, to create a digital nation. Our objective is to ensure economic recovery, rebuilding lives and livelihoods. And whilst this is our objective, the opposition has been negative and unsupportive. The opposition has been anything but supportive of anything that we have tried to do. Ladies and gentlemen, the tragic truth is that Kamla Persad-Bissessar is what we call a serial loser. This, if I might be so bold to say, is perhaps the worst opposition that we have ever seen in Trinidad and Tobago. They are, without a doubt, an opposition that is hapless, an opposition that is hopeless, an opposition that is unpatriotic, an opposition that is weak, an opposition that is insipid, an opposition that will continue to remain in opposition. And ladies and gentlemen, before I bring on our first speaker, I have to tell you this. In my readings over the last few days, I have come across a word which I believe is the best description I have ever seen to describe the opposition's behavior and in particular, Kamla Prasad-Bissessa's behavior throughout this pandemic and even before. Now, I am not a psychologist and I don't pretend to be one. So this is not a diagnosis. What I want to talk to you about is just a word that I happened to come across, and I am sure that in the Oxford Dictionary, if you look at the Oxford Dictionary, you would see Kamla's picture next to this word. The word is saudade, S-A-U-D-A-D-E. Saudade is, and I quote, a deep emotional state of nostalgic or profound melancholic longing for something or someone that one cares for and or loves. Moreover, it often carries a repressed knowledge that the object of longing might never be had again. In Trini parlance, she has a tabanka.